This is Gemara Pesachim Daf Kuf Yod. Tonight's share should be a schos for Shlema for many of Vegel Chaim and Sar some Steven Nezi those are Bas Canendel. Eat Basi and Bas Chaisar yourself in middle. The President Chevrolet Shomas Nami Veshafik Shechapel Dam Yitriva. Shmuel ben Tihina Tihila Daniel ben Chan Rizim L'Chai Basmina. Livrachas of Yemusa Daniel Mashin Mindel B'Say Shar Chayle Yisrael. We pick it up on the top of Kuf Yod Amar Aleph. 4 lines from the top. Hanu Rabban in the middle of discussing the concept of Zugais. This concept of having things in pairs could be potentially harmful. We pointed out yesterday, Taisus in Yuma, I think I said Ayin Tes, it's really Ayin Zayin Amid Beis, that says nowadays we're not really careful about this, and we're going to see more today on Amid Beis, the reason why perhaps we're not so concerned about this nowadays. But let's see more about this. Tanur Rabbanan says, the Gemara 5 lines down, you drink in doubles, as we saw yesterday. This means any 2 cups, 4 cups, 6 cups, any derivative of 2, Dama B'Raishai, your blood is on your head. Amar Rav Yehuda says, Rav Yehuda, when is this? That's only if you drink 2 cups straight without taking a break and going to the marketplace. If you take a break and go outside, then it's not a problem. You're allowed to do that. Amar Rav Ashi says, Rav Ashi, I saw Rav Chanina bar Bibi, the Achal Kisa, the Achal Kasa, that he would after every cup, he would go out and he would see the marketplace after each and every cup, and therefore he never ran into this issue of having 2 cups. So first din we're seeing is if you break it up in the middle, that's fine. Says the Gemara, but this whole din this is only to go on the road, but if you're staying in your house after you drink these 2 cups, then it's not a problem. Again, similar like we saw yesterday, that if someone drinks 2 cups and then sleeps with his wife and then does these other items, then it could harm him. So to here we're seeing, if you drink the 2 cups and then you go on the road, then it's dangerous. But if you stay home, it's not a problem. Amar Rav Zira, and says Rav Zira, and going to sleep is equivalent to going to the road. So going to sleep is going to run into the same issue that you potentially could have this issue of 2 guys of drinking pairs. Going to the bathroom is similarly. So again, number 1 is going to the bathroom. Number 2 is sleeping. Number 3 is going to number 1 is going on the road. Number 2, and then subdivisions of that is going to sleep and going to the bathroom. Rav Zira and Rav Papa respectively are teaching us have the same status as going on the road, and therefore it would be harmful to drink zugais, to drink 2 cups of something before doing that. Says the Gemara, and is it true that if you drink these 2 cups and you stay in your house, it's not a problem? But Rava used to count the beams of his house as he would drink to keep track of how many cups in order to make sure he never had derivatives of 2. And what Abaye do? When you drink 1 kais, his mother would come with 2 cups again, because 1 plus 2 is 3. Betray Yadi with the mother's 2 hands. When he would drink 2 cups, then what would happen? Mankit, says the Gemara in the first wide line. Mankit leishami, the servant would give him chad kasa. The servant would give him 1 cup. Why would the servant give him 1 cup? So that again, 2 plus 1 is 3. Chad kas. When an achlis would have 1 cup, mankele trei kasi. Betray Yadi with his 2 hands. So what do we see? Says the Gemara, we see these people who are home. And yet Abaye or Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, that we're always being careful and meticulous to only have derivatives of odd numbers and not to have 2. Answers the Gemara, Adam chashav shiny. We're dealing here with Abaye, we're dealing with Nachman bar Yitzchak. They were more scrupulous and they were more stringent upon themselves. Amar Ula says Ula. So again, so far we've seen staying home is heter number 1. Going on the road, going to the bathroom, and as well as going to sleep is where there is an issue. Amar Ula, now we're going to see more limitations of this rule. Says Ula, derivatives of 2 issues, but 10 is not a problem. Says Gemara Ula Tameid Amar Ula V'Amar Mastita Tana. Some say we learned in the Mishnah. They made a takana. The Chachamim to have 10 cups of wine in the house of a mourner, and therefore, and if it would be true that 10 cups have a potential issue of Zugos. Similarly, how this whole story started yesterday, where we spoke about the Dalit Kaisis, and we said it's not possible that they made a takana that will come to harm. Similarly, says Ula, it's not possible that they made a takana of having 10 cups and it would potentially come to harm. So 10 cups is not a problem. But according to Ula, 8 cups is a problem. Rav Chista, Rabba Ravuna take it one step further. What do they say? Shalom l'taiva mitzarif l'ra. Shalom, what's Shalom? Shalom is the seventh word of, when we say Birchas Kayhanim, the seventh and final word is Shalom. So that refers to the seventh cup. L'toiva mitzarif, l'ra loy mitzarif. It combines with other cups for good and not for bad. Loy mitzarif. Aval shisa, but 6 cups, yeshem shem zugos. They has an issue of zugos. So again, Rabbi Ravuna is saying, and Rav Chista is saying that 8 is not a problem. Because if you have cup number 7 of Shalom plus 1, it's not a problem. Whereas, but 6 is yes a problem. Rabbi Rav Yosef Darmitapayu Vichuneka. When it comes to now, he goes one step further. Vichuneka being the 5th word of the Berchas Kehanim. That is mitzarif l'taiva, not l'ra. L'taiva mitzarif, l'ra loy mitzarif. A similar concept. Rabbi and Rav Yosef are teaching us that 6 is not a problem because you take the 5th word plus 1, you have 6 cups. It's not an issue. Aval yeshem sayim zugos. Abayi v'rav Darmitapayu. What do they say? V'yishmerecha, which is word number 3. So they say that word number 3 plus 1, 4 is not an issue. However, 2 is going to be an issue. Rava goes according to his reasons that Rava would often send away the Rabbanan after learning. He would give them 4 cups to drink, and then he would send them out. So we see that 4 is not an issue according to Rava because he learned it out from the word. V'yishmerecha, referring to case number 3 plus 1 is not an issue. Avagav the ischazik, Avagav the ischazik Rabbi Levai. Even though one time Rabbi Levai got damaged from drinking 4 cups, Rava was still not concerned, and therefore Rava says 4 is not an issue. The Amar, you say, why did Rabbi Bar Levai get damaged? Not because of drinking 4 cups, because he asked questions inappropriately in shir in front of public. He asked questions in a degrading manner to the Rebbe, and that's why he got damaged. And that's the progression that we just saw. Again, starting with Ula, that 10 is not an issue. Rabbi Rav Chista, 8 is not an issue. Rabbi Rav Yosef, 4 is not an issue, and everyone agrees that 2 is going to be an issue. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yosef, says Rav Yosef. Now we move along from Zugais, and now we go into now we go a bit into Shadim. Amrli Yosef Shada. Yosef the Shade said the following to me. Ishmadai. But again, we're going to begin Shadim discussions. Shadim, these interesting mystical demons. We're going to begin discussing them because it's going to relate to Zugais, to pairs like we just spoke about. And then it's going to continue on Amr base into a regular discussion of Shadim. Amr Yosef, Amrli Yosef Shada. Yosef the Shade said the following thing to me. Ishmadai Malka the Shada. Ishmadai Malka, the king of the demons, is Memuna. Who? He is Memuna Hakula Zugi on all of pairs. That demon, it's why these pairs cause issue, because we have this demon Ishtamai that he controlled all the pairs. Umalka Leikri Mazik, and he says in the Malka, the king is never a damager, so it can't be that the pairs is that which is damaging. So the Gemara explains, and some explain the exact opposite. Adarabba. Malka, Mandabai Avid. When it comes to a king is always able to do Malka Rischana, who? He's a king that's temperamental. He's a king with a bad temper. He's a shade. So Ishtamai, he would be able to do what he wants. And therefore, we have to be worried about Zugais. The Gemara gives an example of a king doing what he wants. A king, if a king's going the road and he gets to someone's field, he's allowed to bust a hole right through the field and say, now it's my road. So too, you can't protest against the king. So too, this Ashmadai was in charge of the Zugais and it could cause terrible destruction. Says Yosef Sheda. Yosef the Shade told me, betray Katalinan. When you drink 2 cups, we kill the person. This is what the Shade used to say. Before is not an issue. Before comes Maskinan. It damages a person. It doesn't actually kill them, but it damages. Betray. 2 cups being whether you did it willfully or not, but when it comes to 4, so again, why 4? He said it could kill. Sorry, by 4 he said it damages. That's only if it's been mazid. But by 2, it's going to damage both b'shagig when you did it on purpose or not. Again, it's similar like we just saw a moment ago, that 2 is worse than 4. Ve'i ishtali, ve'ikri, v'nafak, Maitakante. Says the Gemara, what happens if you did it? What happens if you by accident drank 2 cups and you went outside and you're like, uh-oh, I drank 2 cups. I'm in danger. What should I do right now? Says the Gemara, this will bring us back to many of the other Agadatik Gemaras that we learned together. And of course, we didn't give the same Akdama, but we always know that we just gave the simple explanation over here. And there's, of course, much deeper and more lengthier explanations to all these Gemaras. Says the Gemara, what should you do? Linkait. Zikva didei, he should take his right thumb, the yamin of his right hand, the other dismala, take the right thumb, put it in the left hand. Vizakva dismala, and take the thumb of the left hand, he put it in the right hand, the other the yamina. And then what do you say? So this one's in this one, this one's in this one. V'nema hachi, and what do you say? Aton v'ana, you and I. Is 3. That's what he would say to the shade. Again, the shade that is controlling the demons after he drinks 2 cups inadvertently, and he's worried that the demon, that the 2 cups, the zugais, is going to harm him. He puts right hand into left hand, and left hand into right hand, and he says, you and I are 3. And if he hears back the shade, a voice is saying, what do you mean? We're 4. What does he say? Say no, we're 5. If you hear the shade saying no, we're 6. Then you should say we're 7. And says the Gemara, there was a story, 101, meaning each and every time the person who is potentially going to get damaged says, no, I'm 3. Just keep on showing you're an odd number. And you hear the shade saying that you're 4, then you go 5, 6, all the way up. There was one person who did this story all the way to 101. And what happened at 101? The shade, the demon burst, and that's how he was saved. Amar Ameimar, 3 lines to the bottom. Amrli Rishtinu Dinashim. The Rishtinu Dinashim was a certain sorceress, the queen sorceress, the madam sorceress, said to me, the Pagabu Binashim, Kashfanios, one who bumps into a Nashim Kashfanios, which is a female sorceress, this person who does this different black magic. Nema Hachi should say the following: Chari Chamimi, Nema Hachi Chari Chamimi, hot excrement b'dikula b'zayah, in tore baskets to your mouth, to your mouth. Nashi der Charshaya, or woman of sorcery. Again, each one of these statements is going to conclude with Nashi der Charshaya, as the person addresses this person, this demon, this evil entity of sorcery. So again, you're saying that the hot excrement in torn baskets should be in your mouth. Then what do you continue? Karach karchayu, your hair should be ripped out, and you should show your karchayu is your baldness. Parach parchaychi, your breadcrumbs should fly away, and this is reminiscent of 2 different items that were used for different kishef. Ivdar tavlanaichi, and the spices should be scattered. Parcha zika, the spices should be scattered. Parcha zika lemarika, the wind should blow away. The marika charita, the fresh saffron. The naktitu nashim kushvanias, that you're holding in your hands. Kushvanias, again referring back to the this queen, this madam sorceress. As long as I am in your grace, as long as you, the sorceress, is listening to me, I didn't come between you. Hashadas is the guy. But now that we bumped into each other, karchenu, that we should karchanani v'chananaichi, and we should, and my grace and your grace should calm down, and that's how you're going to potentially win yourself over and make sure that this evil sorceress doesn't take control of you. B'marava on the west, like up the Azugai, they were not makbid on Zugais. This is going to wrap up the Gemara from yesterday and the beginning of today. They were not makbid on drinking Zugais. Rav Diman Ardai, kapid, he was makbid. Afilu arush with the chavita, even on the markings on the barrel, like to give a contemporary example of his marking cup, his measuring cup, he would only have a measuring cup with numbers 1, 3, 5, and 7. He wouldn't put the numbers 2, 4, and 6 because of Zugais. There was a story who put chavita on the barrel burst open. That's how makbid, that's how careful he was. One time when they wrote an even number, boom, the barrel burst. Klala the mill, so this is what we mentioned at the beginning of today's year, called the kapid Kapti bade. If you're makbid, if you care about the demons, they're going to care about you. But if you don't care about it, for all of us who didn't even know this thing existed, we don't care about it. Therefore, we don't have to worry. But we always have to be careful. Now, those last three words, is a point of contention whether it exists. Take two kisefrim, takes it out, and as we pointed off at the beginning of today, this is Taisin Yuma Davayin Zayin that says that nowadays we are not chayshish. I saw also Rabbeinu Yoyada, I think, said similarly for the Sfardim, they're not chayshish. But again, that is the topic of Zugais. A little bit more, it says the Gemara, Kyasar Avdimi Amahar, Shtei Beitzim, 2 eggs, Shtei Egoizim, 2 walnuts, Shtei Kishum, 2 cucumbers, V'davar Achar, and another type of 2 pears. Allah l'Moshe Sinai, to Allah l'Moshe Sinai to be careful about them. Umistafkalu Rabbanim, the Rabbanim didn't know. Mind you, davar acher, meaning it said 2 eggs, 2 walnuts, 2 cucumbers. Those are a problem, and then 2 of something else is a problem. We don't know what that 2 of something else is, and therefore, because Rabbanim Mekula Zugim Misham davar acher, they made a gzeira on all other Zugos, all the pairs because of davar acher, and that's the reason. That's where it came from, to be makbid and careful on all these different items. Says the Gemara, and that is the conclusion of the Zugais. Now we're going to go backwards and go more in detail into certain of the things that we said in Amud Aleph. But again, what we have to take away from this is, like the Gemara just said, Klal the Milsa, that if you care about these things, you have to be worried. There's a Ran that says this applies to other areas of these dark side items, but when you don't care about them, then you do not have to be worried. Says the Gemara, that which we said 10, 8, 6, and 4, there's no issue. That's only with regard to mazikin. When it comes to kshafim, when it comes to sorcery, then you have to be careful even with a greater number. And now the Gemara proves this. There was a person that unfortunately divorced his wife, and the wife used to come and the wife used to come every day to the store, call Yaima every day. The woman would go and drink from I skipped. Azal insva lechanva. She went and she married the store owner. And then and every day the first husband would come to that store. Again, the person gets divorced, wife goes and marries store owner, and every day the husband would come to that store and be drinking wine in that store. And obviously his ex-wife wasn't so happy that he's coming to drink wine every day in the store. So she decided we'll take care of him with some black magic, with some kish of some sorcery. So she went and she did some kivvish on and it didn't work. He wasn't affected. What's the reason? Because he was very careful about himself. Bezuka, whenever he used to drink the wine, he would always be careful to drink in odd numbers. One day he drank a lot. And he forgot how much he drank. Until 16 cups of wine, he was in a clear mind. He remembered and he made sure to keep it odd. He was careful. He wasn't clear and he wasn't careful. He wasn't careful. And then what happened? He left after consuming a zug, after consuming a pair of cups, meaning an even number, and therefore, when he was leaving, he met into an Arab merchant, and the Arab said to him, "You're a dead man." And then what happened? Which is walking over here, he went and he hugged a palm tree, whatever that means. He got all worried from the fact that the Arab said he's a dead man. And then what happened? Savach Tikla upakai, who the dekel, the palm tree, shriveled up and he burst. What do we see? We see the care apparently that they had about these zugais. And we see even more than 10, 15, 16 cups. You have to be careful once you are being careful for these things. Amar Ravira, Kairais Vikikarais, says Ravira, plates of cooked dishes and loaves of bread, Ein Ba Misham Zugais, you don't have an issue of Zugais. Klal de Milsa, what does yes, what does no, says the Gemara. Kol Shekam Rubinei Adam Ein Misham Zugais. If it's an item created by man, you don't have to worry about it. Then B'mili, you have to, be worried about Zugais. When it comes to foods, we have to be worried. Chanos, when it comes to a store, there's no worry about Zugais when it comes to a store. Nimlach, anytime you change your mind, like we saw yesterday, if you have one, and then you decide to have another one, then there is no problem. Oyreach, Ein ba'em misham zuga is a guest, never has to be worried. He drinks what he's given. Isha ein ba'em misham zuga is a woman as well, doesn't have to be worried. Visha chashuva, like we saw in Aleph Chashinan, then yes, they are concerned. And let's finish up today's daf. Amar Rav Chinna, Breder of Yeshua is pargus, which is a certain type of drink, which is a cabbage and wine drink. Mitzarif l'taiva. Again, if you have one of those cups and one of another cup, then they combine l'taiva, meaning it's not called a pair, and bein mitzarif l'ra, and they don't combine to be considered a pair, an evil zugais that could harm you. Amar Ravina Meshed Rava zugay lechumra. A pair, zuge l'chumra. If you're not sure if you drink a pair, l'chumra, you should be machmer and you should drink another cup. V'amila zuge l'kula. And some say the opposite, that if you're not sure, don't drink another cup. Obviously, what's going on over here is, are we worried you had one and by having another one, you're going to end up with a pair, or are we worried the opposite? Those are the two ways of learning. Amar Rav Yosef says, Rav Yosef, trei chamra, 2 cups of wine, v'chad shechra, 1 cup of beer, loy mitzaref, does not combine with each other, meaning the 1 cup of beer does not make it as if you didn't drink a pair. Again, you had 2 cups of wine and you thought, okay, I'll have a cup of beer to help me. It doesn't work, and we'll explain in a minute, because beer is less chashiv. So the less important item will never come and save you from drinking a pair of important items. Trade the shechri v'chad the exact opposite, 2 of beer and 1 of wine, then avada, then of course, mitzdarif will help you because the wine is more chashiv, so it makes it like you did not drink a pair. Simanich, what's the simon zaklal mishtan dairis kol mechover loy min amoich chemer mimanu. If it's attached, then it goes by the stringent one, tamei minakal mimanu tar. And the Rashbam explains, like we just said, it has to do with which item is more chashiv than the other item. And Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav, trei kama taka, 2 cups before the table, v'chad ataka, 1 cup at the table, mitzdarfi. Yes, combines again the same reason, because drinking at the table is more chashiv, so it will combine and make you like you did not drink a pair. But if you had 1 before and a trei ataka and 2 on the table, loy mitzaref, and then it's not going to combine, because obviously the cup before the meal is not as chashiv, so it's not going to combine to make it as if you drink 3. The tekuni gavra binan gavra kamitkan says Rav Mishashia, are we anal tekuni taka kabinan? Are we trying to fix the table? We're trying to fix the person. So what's the difference if you drink it before the meal, after the meal? If this man had 3 cups, he had 3 cups. Says the Gemara, tekuli alma trei ataka v'chad lebasar taka. Everyone agrees if you had 2 cups during the meal, 1 after the meal, loy mitzarfi. That for sure not. Ki ahi ma'isa, we know ma'isa Rabbi Rachmeni, which Rashbam points out, the story was that he had 2 cups and he made them bring back the table and serve another cup to fix the story. So we see that you can remedy this situation only by having another chashiv cup. And we'll pick up from the last line tomorrow.